Good morning, fellow connectors. My name is Ed Cardona. For those that don't know me here at the company, I am your Director of IT. So I want to thank everyone for joining me for hopefully the first of many little tiny training videos on many of the applications that I hope we're going to be using on a day-to-day basis. Since the rollout of Office 365, there's a lot of a variety of applications that belong to this platform. And I'm sure sometimes when we click on some of this stuff, we may find it overwhelming. So my job is to kind of create small little chunks of what I feel is going to be usable information that will hopefully make your lives better. If it doesn't, I'm sure you will email me about it anyways. So on that note, let's dive into Microsoft Teams. I'm sure with the current global pandemic that we're dealing with, this is an application that many of you are being forced to kind of become quite familiar with on a very quick basis, especially with the need now to provide our services via telehealth. So let's talk about Microsoft Teams. I'm going to go ahead and take my spot behind the keyboard, and I'll start initiating a screen share, and you guys can kind of see the ins and outs, at least from a basic perspective, on what Microsoft Teams is and what it can do for us. So currently, I'm actually existing within a Microsoft Teams meeting that I created solely for myself that I'm actually recording, and that's the recording that you will see later on. So let's initiate a screen share so you can kind of see where everything starts and then kind of how you can interact once you are within this Teams meeting. So if you kind of were to shake the mouse on, you will see I have this share button, right? So when I click on that, it gives me a variety of different things to share. I can share my desktop. I can share a specific window, whether that's Teams or some of the different browsers that I have open, some of the different apps. Obviously, I can go ahead and share PowerPoint presentations if I wanted to. And then we have a couple more advanced things like whiteboarding, but we won't get into that. I find sharing windows to be kind of the way to go. And the reason I do that is when you share your desktop, everything that happens on your desktop will show up. So for instance, if I'm sharing my desktop and say I have a PowerPoint presentation going on and someone emails me, sometimes you'll have that little pop-up saying, you know, this person emailing you. Some of the message sometimes is in there, and maybe it's not something that you want your whole audience to see, right? So that's kind of why I specifically share windows where possible. For this particular exercise, I'm going to go ahead and share the desktop because it's just kind of the easiest thing to do, and hopefully no one emails me. But if they do, you will kind of see the gotchas that happen when you do that. So when I share my desktop screen, as you can see, it immediately shows you whatever was prevalent on my screen. As you can see here, it is my Chrome browser. I have a couple tabs open related to work. Thank God I wasn't shopping for anything. So, you know, that's not the way we should be spending our time here at Connections. So all jokes aside, let's go right into Outlook. So I will go into the calendar of Outlook, right? And I will show you what this particular meeting will look like. All right, so as you can see here, I had invited Lisa to this. Again, this was just for test purposes. She's not on there, but if she was and she had her video on, you would see her as well. So the most important things to take note regarding an invite that is initiated for a Teams meeting. You have this hyperlink here, right? We'll click on that in a moment to see what that does. And then you also have this dial-in information, right? So the really cool thing with Teams is it will allow you to, if you have a laptop or if you have a webcam connected to your workstation, you can join Teams meetings, right? They can see your face if you wanted them to. And you can actually listen into a conversation regardless, you know, without the need of dialing in. So the really cool thing is, say I had sent this invite to 5 individuals. 2 of us have laptops, the other 3 are dialing in. The 2 folks with the laptops don't have to dial in at all. They will hop into the meeting via this hyperlink, and the other 3 individuals will dial in using this 302 number along with this conference ID. And we will all be able to hear one another seamlessly without an issue. All right, so that's the really cool thing. So I think some of the gotchas that I've seen in the past is some people with laptops will join via the link and they will dial in using their mobile phone or desk phone. And what ends up happening is you create an echo because you have the microphone open on both channels. So basically you just kind of get this echo sound loop happening. And that's the reason why. So if you have a laptop or something connected to a webcam, that's all you need to do to join one of these meetings, and you will interact with people on the phone without an issue. So for those of you that do click the link, this is what you should see. So there's a couple different ways that you can interact with Teams, right? There should be, for hopefully a majority of you, the application installed already on your machine. This is more relevant to those that have Windows 10 as an operating system. If you have Windows 7, it's a hit or miss kind of thing. That's an obsolete operating system that we're working to get rid of. So don't worry about that. If you notice that you don't have the application on your desktop or laptop, what you want to do is send an email to the service desk saying, can you please install Teams for me? And we'll go ahead and get that taken care of for you. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this because I want to show you the 2 choices that you have here. For those of you that don't have the app, you could try to initiate a download, but the issue that you'll probably run into is you don't have administrative rights on your desktop. So when you click on that and it goes to install and it say, hey, I need administrative credentials, and unless you have an IT person sitting there with you, the likelihood of you being able to install the app is probably not going to happen. But you can actually join via the web. And if you did do that, it would actually open the Teams interface in a web browser. Let's see. I'm in a Teams meeting now. I'm not sure if it may or may not do it. Let's see if it doesn't cause or wreak havoc with the recording. But as you can see, it looks like it's going to go through. All right, so perfect. I won't go any further than this, but you see the interface in the browser. All you would have to do is just enter your name. If you didn't want to be seen on camera, you just easily slide that off. If you didn't have a camera, it wouldn't give you that option. It would just be grayed out. If you didn't want anyone to kind of hear you once you get into the meeting, right? Maybe you have a couple people in your office that you're kind of shooing out before the meeting starts. You can just slide this to mute yourself. And then again, enter your name, hit join, and then you're off and running. If you did do that, and I'll go ahead and close that out, then you would probably come up to this. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the screen share for the moment. So again, that's kind of the very basic, how do I get into a Teams meeting? Now, for those of you that are interested in creating these invites that have these Teams links and the phone numbers, there's a license associated with that. So I think there's only like 50 or 60 individuals in the bank that, or I'm sorry, in the bank, in the company, you can tell I used to work in finance, in the company that have the ability to do that. If that's something that you feel you need to do, please, again, send an email to the service desk and we will gladly take care of that for you, okay? So that is, video number 1 of kind of how to get into a Teams meeting, what to expect when you click on a hyperlink, or obviously if you're dialing, you want to make sure you get that conference ID correct. One of the things to understand with Teams, as far as its security features are concerned, is every invite that's created auto-generates a new conference ID. The reason they do that is I know with other conferencing bridges, you kind of have a conference ID that's always assigned to you. The danger of that is if you share that conference ID with someone this week and you have a meeting next week, there's nothing to stop that individual from calling that number randomly if they want to for whatever reason and dialing that conference ID and potentially inserting themselves into a meeting that they have no business being in and maybe hearing information they should not be hearing. So Microsoft understood that, and that's why they dynamically create those conference IDs that are invite specific. So every new invite that someone creates will auto-generate a new conference ID. So don't try to hold on to those conference IDs unless it's a maybe weekly or monthly reoccurring meeting. That's the only time that that conference ID would be relevant for an ongoing invite. So I hope you found this to be somewhat educational. I will create additional videos showing some of the advanced features, but I do not want to create hour-long videos. I think 10-minute snippets are more than enough, and you can obviously reference these you know, as much as possible. And then, of course, if you see me in the hallways, you want to give me a call, shoot me an email. I will be glad to answer any questions that you may have. So I hope everyone's staying safe. I want to go ahead and you know, state my admiration for all the work that everyone is doing in these very trying times, to see the manner that we as a company have pulled together and are providing and continue to provide excellent service to our consumers that rely on us. It fills me with a lot of joy, and it makes me happy to work for this company. And I hope you find that joy as well. So have a great morning and a great day, and see you at the next time.